Hello, I am Bisola, the CEO of Niyis.co.uk.
5 years ago, I started this business with no idea what was ahead. Today, after thousands of orders, staffing challenges, cash flow issues, pressures, warehouse issues, customer complaints, difficult decisions, and lessons learned, we are still standing. I started Niyis Limited to hopefully make money while solving a problem. Not a very critical and painful problem in the sense that there were already solutions there ahead, but a lot of the solutions we had were not by our own people, for our own people, to our own people. Many of the products were not quality, many of the products were not distributed by Africans, and many of the products itself had no sense in what the product was. They were just being sold to make money, not because they actually were the products that were needed. Then I thought this is a space that needed an opportunity. We could definitely make use of it. I could definitely do the writing and also supply people. That's how I started Niyis. When I started Niyis, I was very naive, I was very young. What I expected was that there would be immediate success. I would get very strong support in terms of funding, maybe from the government, maybe from a fellow colleague or a fellow organization that sees what I'm doing. I also expected that there would be appreciation for my support, and I also expected that things would just flow easily. Like I said, I was quite naive, but these were my expectations when I started Niyis Limited. Looking back now, 5 years till now, the reality I would say I met a lot of lessons learned. Sometimes in a painful way, sometimes in very disheartening ways. I've made countless mistakes. Those mistakes affected my stress level. Then I actually know exactly what it really is to own a business, but not from the point of view that you've got everything sorted, but from the point of view that things would always arise, issues would always come up. You shouldn't really care about people's opinion of you. No matter how well and how good you try to make things turn out, sometimes it could backfire because they wouldn't really see what you're trying to do. Just make sure you're true to yourself. Another thing I learned that actually was very important from my journey is it made me really understand how humanity works. It made me see success as a journey rather than a destination, because I just thought, you know what, you would achieve this and that would be it. But no, there were many milestones. The milestones are still in progress, but definitely so far to where we've gotten, there were many milestones that I had to cross. A lot of them were very painful, a lot of them things that when I just think about, it makes me want to get emotional. But for sure, there were many milestones. Under the hood, what no one sees in the business running day to day. When you're growing a business without funding, you're growing a business without total deep support. When I say deep support, doesn't mean there's no support. You hear things like customers say, you know what, it's really good you said this. You hear potential investors say, wow, this is really nice. You hear even family members and loved ones push you, really help you, support you the way they can. But the real support you want when you need it isn't usually there. It could be financial support on a business decision continuously because it's a retail business, it's a cash flow business. It could be emotional support when you don't have your loved one there, when you don't have someone that can really understand what you're going through. Behind the scenes, what really goes on? There's cash flow pressures. The day-to-day you have in the business. Running Niyis Limited, at least from my own experience, there've been lots of days with cash flow pressure. We need to pay this supplier, we need to sort out that supplier, we need to make sure there's funds in the account for this bill, we need to make sure that the rent is not out of date, we need to make sure that the bills for the council, for the government, for this and that is all being sorted out. We need to make sure that the salaries are all good. We need to make sure that there's always a positive cash flow for our credit score and credit rating. Cash flow pressure is one important thing that happens on a consistent basis. Apart from the fact that we need to meet the main aim of the business, cash flow is very important. Difficult customers. This is not something I see regularly personally now, because there are people and systems in place to make sure that these things are handled properly. But starting the business, this was something I had to face every single day. Customers can be difficult. We have very, very blessed customers. They're just meant to be the way they are, and they really support you, and experience with them makes you feel like There is a reason for what you're doing. But we've got customers that makes business not worth it. It makes you want to reassess why you're doing the business. We've had situations in the past where a customer will place an order, they got the order from the tracking device that we received. They keep calling and making a fuss that they've not gotten the order. We can see footages that they've gotten the order. They make a scene. We tell them our policy, look, you've gotten the order. This is not. We try our best to resolve it amicably. They want their refund of a particular customer. We decided that, we'll give this customer the refund because the headache was just too much. Just let the customer be. We gave the customer the refund, and then we thought that was all sorted out. Then the customer messages and say, they're not happy about this, that this refund was just for their product. They need a refund for stress, even though they're going to take us to court. And we left them a message saying that the refund we've given you has been out of goodwill because you already have the products. You've not returned the products to us, but yet you've been given the refund just to make sure that you're entirely, sincerely happy. So we don't know on what basis you would take us to court to actually request for more money from us for services that we've actually offered you and we've given you back the money. This customer went ahead and left a 1-star review on all our platforms, on Google, on Trustpilot, on all the platforms that we had. This was one thing that made us realize that you can't expect to be 100% to all customers. It's just going to destroy the business. At the very beginning, when we started the business, I was very particular about 5-star on Google, 5-star on Trustpilot. No matter what, we go any length to make sure that that number stays that way. But when we had certain customers like this take advantage of the system, then we then know that set your policies, make sure you do the right thing, and make sure things are set in place. We've made bad decisions sometimes in terms of when we want to actually move to a property for the business, in terms of how much we want to stock, in terms of projection investment for maybe Easter or for the Christmas or for the Black Fridays. These are things that could cost the business a lot. If they are not done properly, it doesn't only affect the sales of the business, it affects the operation of the business. We've also made mistakes in terms of hiring the right people. One thing about hiring the right people is you just immediately feel it. It adds to the business. Sometimes it doesn't happen immediately, the addition, but it could take time. But in the long run, you'd feel it. Whereas we've had issues with hiring the wrong people. I can remember a time when it was just my missus and I. We'd hired someone. She was managing the warehouse. And I thought, she's a lady. She'll probably more attend to details, and that's fine. But it was obvious after about 2 weeks that she was not going to fit in. So many mistakes, so many orders. We've had so many employees that we've had to employ, realize that they were the bad fit for us and let go. But this particular lady, there was something about her. She was very rude, so rude. Apart from the fact that she was not being able to make her quotas and do what is expected of her, would go to suppliers and she'll pick a fight with them. Like literally, she'll pick a fight with the people that give us business. But what made me hit the nail on the head and said, no, we have to actually let her go, was we kept having bad reviews, bad complaints, issues, and Parcel Force and all our courier companies were complaining that, look, these things are not packed properly. To make it even worse, she would become so defensive and so angry and start throwing things around and throwing tantrums. Then we have to let her know that, we can't really work with you in a very amicable and as polite way as possible. Now, this staff now started threatening my partner, threatening them physically, threatening them verbally, threatening them emotionally. And it got to a stage after we'd actually let her go, just let her be the way she wants to be, and we'd issued a salary to her. She came back 7 days saying she'd not gotten a salary and that she needs a payment for salary. We sent the evidence that your salary has been paid to you. We even paid you a little bit more because you didn't work 1 or 2 days, but we paid you. That's not a problem. But she kept on pesting and she kept on pushing and pressing that she will get a salary. She will get a salary. It made me very stressed. It made my partner very stressed because we never seen this kind of issue. We've had definitely bad staffs and we've had bad hires, but we never had a situation where someone clearly got the pay. We showed them evidence of payment. We showed them the pay slip. We showed them everything, bank transfers, but yet they said they've not gotten it. I told my partner, don't worry about it. Don't get stressed about it. Let her go to a bank. And if a bank says that she's right, we have no option than to raise it with our bank, and I'm sure they'll be able to sort it out. We're able to get a lawyer involved, and that sorted out the issue. But this is just an example of how difficult we've had to deal with staffs and customers as well. One of the things you need to realize as a business owner is that when you're hiring a staff, you're hiring a potential problem and a potential solution to something. Because if you don't do things the right way, it could be a potential problem. If they don't do things the right way, it could be a potential problem. And as a young business owner, without any advice whatsoever, these were things I had to learn very difficult way. I lost a lot of money in Niyis Limited. From taking the wrong loans, beware of loan sharks. They will destroy you. They will come to you nicely. They will be so sweet. They will convince you that you need the money. Be very careful before you take any money from anybody. Make sure that you read your contracts properly. Make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into it. When you're getting into a contract as a business and you don't do it properly, you're not only affecting yourself, who is the main director of the business, you're also affecting everything that integrates with that business, and it comes a long way to hurt. So these are things that I would say happen behind the scenes that nobody sees, and are mistakes that I've definitely made.